what they have to say. Just a couple of matters of logistics and things that you know. You probably saw some of this scrolling through a minute ago, but we're using the UX in Space hashtag for those of you that are inclined to tweet and do things with hashtags. And IXDA San Francisco is on Twitter at IXDA SF, and of course where this is being posted at Adaptive Path, and that's our Twitter ID for that. So thank you very much for Adaptive Path for hosting us and providing us with pizza and all kinds of good stuff, and for using the space. Since two of our speakers are the authors of this lovely book, of which we have some copies, and that's Make It So, Rosenfeld Media sent us a pile of books that we're going to be giving away as door prizes, so that's why you have these little tickets that you should all have. And if you don't have a ticket, we can get you one. So just raise your hand, but I think probably there we're going to get a ticket. So we have a bunch of these books to give away, several copies of Make It So, but some other great stuff, like Indy Young's and the Models book. He's here. Yay, maybe we should do a sign-in, and these guys can sign your book. So that would be fun. Sorry, I just volunteered that for you, but I didn't hear your mind. And also, if you want to buy any books, you can use this code to get 20% off of any of the books in the Rosenfeld catalog. And I think one of the things that was really exciting about putting this together is that I think for a lot of you that are in the audience, and certainly for me, there's something about space that's very magical, very exciting, and very engaging as well. And if you're an interaction designer, a lot of times we focus on doing things on the screen, and there's something really interesting about thinking about doing things that are not only just your average app or things that you're using for e-commerce or whatever. This is real life and death stuff in many cases, and it is very critical applications that are being used for a lot of different things, for getting people into orbit, for keeping people in orbit. So there's a lot of interesting things going on, and a lot of interesting work that we're going to hear about tonight. So with that, I am going to turn it over to our first speaker. I saw her first in Interaction 11 in Dublin, and I grabbed this photo of one of her slides, which I really love. So I will turn it over to her. She is the founder of spacehack.org, and it's a directory of ways to participate in space exploration. And she's the global instigator of Science Hack Day. And also, that's something that's coming up September 28th and 29th here in San Francisco. So I'm sorry if you were going to announce that, but it's hard to say it more than once. And that's a really fun event. If you're a designer, you should really think about going to that. And one more thing. Also, we're giving away with Ariel Waldman for us California Academy of Sciences tickets for their nightlife events. So we'll be giving those away too tonight. So, and with that, I'll turn it over to you, Ariel. Let's see. Can people hear me? Okay. Yeah. Great. All right. Don't mind my awkwardness. I'm always awkward about things, but I'm really excited at least to be here talking about space exploration with all of you. As Maria mentioned, this is something she and I have been sort of planning for months. It kind of all started when there was an event called UX in Space, and I was really excited. I was like, oh my God, UX in space is going to be amazing. And it actually ended up being UX in physical space, and I was, that was like my exact reaction. And so I kind of was not the nicest person to them on Twitter about it, and thankfully they were nice to me back, and they let me help organize this event. So I'm mostly just really excited to hear all of the speakers tonight, and I just wanted to give kind of a quick introduction about things. And so I wanted to actually start with this image here that I've recently really fallen in love with. I just absolutely love looking at this image because to me it's very nebulous and mysterious and in a way a little bit chaotic, and it looks like something that's very far out in outer space. But what we're actually looking at is an image of our own galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. And we just really haven't been able to really see what our own galaxy looks like for a long time. This image came out a few years ago. When we typically think about our galaxy, we typically think it looks something like this, a fairly straightforward spiral structure, fairly kind of quaint. But in reality, our galaxy looks kind of like this when we're actually able to actually see it and look at it. And we just haven't really been able to see it because usually when we try and look at our own galaxy, there's so much space dust and space gas in the way that it really blocks our view and we're not really able to see what it looks like. So thanks to the Spitzer Space Telescope, which is a really awesome telescope, it launched and it uses infrared technology, so we're able to get these gorgeous images of our galaxy. And these images are very much taken from the viewpoint of Earth because the Spitzer Space Telescope is on an orbit around the sun like the Earth is, so it kind of trails behind the Earth a little bit. And so, as mentioned, I'm Ariel Waldman, and I live about 27,000 light years away from all of that. These pictures of our galaxy are very much at the innermost portion of our galaxy, and so Earth is about 27,000 light years away from all of that activity. And I really like thinking about how little it is that we really know about our galaxy and about space exploration in general. Because one of the things that I found most interesting and kind of actually odd is that it wasn't actually even until 1924 that we knew that there were any more galaxies in our entire universe than our own. So 100 years ago, we thought our galaxy was the only galaxy in the entire universe. That pretty much the universe was our entire galaxy. And so in 1924, in the 1920s, Edwin Hubble, as seen here, spent a lot of time looking at a blob in space. This blob looks something like this. And at the time, this blob was referred to as the Andromeda Nebula. And so he spent a lot of time looking at this blob and was able to determine that it's actually the Andromeda galaxy, that there's actually more galaxies in our universe than our own. And now, of course, we know there are billions and billions of galaxies. And so I just really like, just about space exploration, what I like so much about it is just how little we know and how much we continue to learn over such a short amount of time. And I find it also interesting that the blob that Edwin Hubble spent so much of his time looking at, we as designers and geeks have also spent a lot of time looking at. OSX famously shipped with the Andromeda Galaxy as its default background paper, which was kind of awesome. So we are kind of all our own Edwin Hubbles in a sense. So what I like so much about this image and what it represents to me is how little it is we really know about space exploration, and that's kind of the exciting thing to me. And not knowing a lot about space exploration is actually where my story began, because in 2008 I was watching this great documentary called When We Left Earth. I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it. It was this great documentary about NASA during the 1950s and 1960s and how they tried to figure out how to go to space exploration. They hadn't yet really figured it out. And I found it so inspirational that I decided to send someone at NASA an email on a whim saying that I was a huge fan and that I didn't know anything about space exploration, but if they ever needed someone like me, that I was around. And I never expected to hear back from them, but serendipitously I was able to get a job at NASA from that email. And it was amazing. And my degree is in graphic design, and I don't have a formal science background. And really, to me, what was so inspirational about this documentary was really realizing that these were kind of space hackers. That the average age at NASA during the 1960s was around 26, and a lot of them just didn't know a lot about space exploration, and they were having to figure it out. And I really actually identified with that because I was like, I don't know a lot about space exploration, but I want to do awesome things. So it was just really great. And so I actually wanted to share a clip from this documentary with you all that hopefully kind of explains it. And we'll just check the audio levels are okay.
To beat the Soviets, NASA must launch a man into Earth orbit. Only rockets can go fast enough.
We knew nothing about rocketry. We knew nothing about spacecraft. We knew nothing about orbits.
That's how a lot of rockets launched. I'd say that somewhere between 30 and 40% of them failed. A lot of them came up off the pad and went the opposite direction. Some of them got halfway off the pad and blew up. Some of them got to 10,000 feet and turned the other way and blew up.
The whole thing crumbled and blew up. It looked like an atomic bomb went up almost over our heads. We got a big kick out watching the Mercury astronauts. It was great looking at their eyes. We looked at this thing, looked at each other, and decided we want to go back and talk to the engineers a little more.
This is what I just love so much. It actually reminded me of this image here. To me, like, what I learned so much about space exploration is it really wasn't about rocket scientists. It was about a bunch of guys getting together and just figuring out how to explore space and kind of hacking things together and figuring it out along the way. And so after I left NASA, I created, as Maria mentioned, a site called spacehack.org, which is a directory of ways to participate in space exploration. So anything from discovering galaxies that no one's discovered before to building rovers and robots and satellites, a bunch of different things. These are all things that you can do actually without having a formal science background. So if you're watching these talks and getting really inspired and you kind of don't know where to start, I can recommend going on here. I try and catalog as many different sort of projects that I can find. So it's a good starting point. But I also wanted to give you all a good excuse to sort of start thinking about science and space exploration and what you can sort of do with it. I really loved this image here. Because you really don't need to actually know something about science to actually be able to play with it. You really just gotta be excited about it. And so sort of out of that sort of love, I guess, of just wanting to design and make awesome stuff and hack things together came an event called Science Hack Day, which is a 48-hour event in which scientists, designers, developers, and all different types of people get into the same physical space to see what they can rapidly prototype with science in 24 consecutive hours. It is chaotic and insane, and I love it to death. This is an image from the San Francisco event that we had a couple of years ago, and it's really just around making something silly, making something serious. It doesn't really matter, just so long as you get excited and make things. That's all that really matters. So I wanted to also invite all of you, again, if you're listening to all these talks later and you are getting excited about it and you just kind of are looking for an excuse to put aside some time to work on awesome projects, we do have another Science Hack Day, September 28th and 29th. The cool thing, though, is that it will be at the California Academy of Sciences, which is actually only the tip of what's cool about it. What's cool is that we will all be able to spend the night at the California Academy of Sciences. We will be opening up registration for this event in August, so if you follow Science Hack Day on Twitter, you will get notified immediately once we open up registration. So I invite all of you to come, and we always want more designers to show up, because the things that designers are able to do with a hack day is just amazing. It's just really awesome to see both the scientists and the creatives and the developers all working together making awesome stuff. So if you want to spend the night at the Cal Academy and just make awesome space stuff, then we need you, and just follow the Twitter account. So with that, I really look forward to actually sitting with all of you and listening to the rest of the talks. I hope you enjoy them, and let's just geek out about space tonight.